On every platform. Okay, so hello everyone, how are you? I'm going live on Instagram on the phone, Facebook from the desktop, and YouTube from the desktop. So I should have all platforms here. So hello guys, I pray you guys doing well. I just got back from a funeral, and so I'm here in my small office actually fulfilling orders. We're doing a t-shirt sale. Gigi told me he's doing a $15 t-shirt sale. We're clearing out inventory because we're getting ready for the spring season. So we have a lot of new inventory coming in. So everything behind me is going to be gone. Yes. But I wanted to spend time talking to you guys, and I've come prepared. This is going to be one of those kind of like boot camps I do. You guys know every now and then I do some really, really good video content. Well, all the time I do good video content, but this one is going to be really good. And so for the past couple of weeks, I have been doing some really, really great tip-filled videos for those of you who are in the t-shirt, mug, product business. And I've been getting some heartfelt messages from many of you guys because I'm not, you guys know I'm not posting on here for a little bit. I'm, spending time focusing on my business, but I want to help you guys with your businesses. And so in preparation for my 4-week workshop coming up in February, which we are 50% filled, and I'm excited for Product Queen, which is where basically I teach you guys on how to build a successful t-shirt and mug business. Leading up to that, I want to give you guys insightful tips to help you grow your business. And so we're going to spend time. This is not for everyone. So this live is not for everyone. This live is for those of you who are looking to build a t-shirt or mug or product business, and you're looking for strategy and insight. So if that's you, then stay watching. If it's not you, well, then thank you for tuning in, and hopefully I will be able to talk to you soon. But this live is specifically for those of you who want to learn more about the drop shipping, inventory, all those wonderful tips on how to have, again, a successful t-shirt and mug business. Many people do not have a successful business. And most t-shirt businesses that I'm seeing are really being wiped out within about a year's time. And I'm not saying that to place fear in anyone's hearts, but it's to show the reality of most businesses. And that's the fact that most businesses, they come into the game thinking like, oh, I got a couple products, they do the whole, like, for instance, I got me some t-shirts, so you get the cute logo, you get the cute this and that, and like you feel like, oh, I'm in business. And you're really not. You just have a cute logo, you have some social media content, you have some products. But I want to help you guys win in business. I'm not here to, the thing about t-shirts, mugs, all that kind of stuff, I'm going to really break this down. And the reason why is because not a lot of people break it down for you to where it actually is beneficial information. So today's topic is talking about drop shipping t-shirts, mugs, all that versus having inventory. And so, for instance, here in my office, I have inventory. We have Gigi taught me runs 90% off of drop shipping and 10% off of physical inventory. So what you see behind me are t-shirts. There's a huge box at the floor. More t-shirts, but I want to give you guys a strategy because I do not want you guys spending money and wasting money. We have to be smart when you're building these types of businesses. So the question is, which one is cheaper? Drop shipping, in other words, drop shipping, of course, is when what? Is when another company is responsible to fulfill the order for your business. So in other words, when someone orders one of our, the enemy is Ashley t-shirts, we don't actually have those in stock here. Those are actually in the warehouses for the drop shipping companies that we're with. So when the customer orders the enemy is Ashley t-shirt, then actually the company that we're in relationship with actually fulfills that order and ships it to our customer. So we don't actually have to worry about those orders for those products being fulfilled. So the question begs itself is, which one is cheaper? So I have 6 things I want to go over. You may have to, get off of this and then come back into the live, watch it when you actually have time, because I really want to spend time breaking it down for you. So this is almost like a free master class to help you better understand the strategy behind having a successful product-based business. Okay, so the first thing is that cheap is relative. Okay, I got my notes here. So cheap is relative. When it comes to any product-based business, you have to understand that the word cheap, or which one's the cheapest, remember, cheap is relative. It's not because there are many pros and cons to different types of business models. So, you could say, well, drop shipping is cheaper. Well, not necessarily. We're going to talk about things like margins, which I love the M word. We're going to talk about things like quality control, because you can't really say that one is cheaper than the other. So the first answer to that question is, which one's cheaper? I can't really say. Because remember, cheap is really based upon what's cheaper for you. Okay, and there are different pros and cons that we're going to weigh in this type of business. So hello, everyone. Hello to everyone saying hello. So the second thing, which is really almost the first thing you got to figure out, is when you're launching a t-shirt, mug, product, hoodie, you come up with anything, you got to first realize what type of business is this going to be. Okay, and the reason why that's so important is because that really determines how you will fulfill products. Okay, so for instance, you have to know coming into this game, and I have some notes here, how involved are you going to be in this business, right? One of the reasons why companies or apparel or even product development companies, you may choose drop shipping is because your involvement has a certain level. Right. So being that I could work with a dropshipping company to fulfill the orders for me, that eliminates me having to fulfill orders. Right. So if you're someone who's saying, I want to come into this business, but I don't have all the access to, all the products, I don't have the space, I don't want my house filled with inventory. It all depends. Right. It all depends upon what type of business you want. Because for me personally, I don't mind inventory because I know I can sell it. And we're going to talk about that because, a lot of times I'm watching t-shirt businesses not basically go out of business because you're buying a whole bunch of inventory and you have no clue how you're going to sell them. We're going to talk about that. Okay, some of you guys are already in that right now. I've talked to many t-shirt owners, businesses, and man, you guys have all these t-shirts in your home, all these products, wasted money, and it's in all the inventory is just sitting, or you're not selling any of it. So I'm here to also help you with that. So again, what type of business are you trying to do? Again, it also talks about involvement. It's all about also too, what's the goal with this? Most people who are starting these t-shirt mug businesses who come to me consistently, they got into business and had no plans. You basically say, I'm going to just, again, print some t-shirts, get a logo, get da-da-da. You have no plans. It's like people who write books with no plans. You just want to write a book. And as great as that is, then people complain about why they aren't making money on their books because you have no plan. And when there's no plan, you cannot get mad at the fact that things are not successful. You did not have a plan coming in. Okay, you should have expected things to not go so well because you had no plan. And I never have pity for people who don't have plans because you're assuming that somehow, business is going to be so nice to you. No, it's not. It is I'm not going to say a dog-eat-dog world, but business is not about, making you feel better. It's about, you're coming to this game to make money and to help people, so let's just be realistic. You're not coming to this game just for purpose. Business is also about profit. If you have no profit, then you won't be able to continue in your purpose. Let's just be real. And we have to have these real conversations because so many of you are jumping into these t-shirt business, things like that. You're not looking at margins, just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to do this, oh, I'm going to do that. You're not looking at the numbers. And again, it's unsuccessful. You have to realize that in business, it is about numbers. It is about money. I do want to make sure that my bottom line is healthy. That is business. So number one is that cheap is relative. Number two is that you have to know what type of business you want to run. If you want the inventory in your house, let's talk about some realistic things. So we're going to actually break down like what actually comes into play with having drop shipping. I'm so glad Style by Terrence, my lives are helping you. So let's talk about real breakdowns. Okay, so here in my office, right? This is not even like office. This is just small, in my opinion, a small office. So in my office, basically, this is where I pack up all the orders. Oh, sorry, I'm like on Instagram, it's kind of like a little messed up. So this is where I pack all the orders in, right in here. So when someone orders a t-shirt that we actually have physically here, but when you talk about you physically fulfilling orders, there are numbers and things you need to physically fulfill orders. You need packing material. This is a poly mailer. This is a pink poly mailer. Of course, we use these because Gigi taught me is a female brand. We can use pink. But then we also have our infamous, black padded. These are padded with, you can see bubbles. They have the padding in here, right? Okay. So when you do, and this is something that when we do our workshop, I am going to have a checklist. Even though I'm teaching primarily drop shipping, I will have a checklist for those of you who are doing physical, because you have a lot of things you got to make sure you have. When you're selling t-shirts, you need the packaging, you need the labels, okay? You need a printer. You need to have make sure that you have, whether it's tissue paper, you need to make sure that you have postcards. So let's look at some of these. I'm just going to pull out just a few things to show you guys, because people, when you start these businesses, let me get my stuff, you just thinking, oh, it's whatever. No. So let me show you guys what we do over here, to give you guys some insight on just a few things you got to consider when you're starting that good old business of yours. Okay? So let me show you guys some things that we got going on over here. Okay. So when you decide that you want to physically fulfill products, you got to have some things with you. Okay. Now, when we launched, as you taught me, I had a whole checklist of things that we needed. That's why you can't launch a business in 2 weeks. It takes time. It takes time. So you're going to need things like, for instance, you're going to need some marketing material. In every order that comes from here, we make sure that it comes with a Grind and Grace postcard that actually we give them $5 off their next order. They also get one of our business cards, okay? And on the back, it has our information. And if you look at these, the branding matches. This is kind of important, okay? So when you look at the back of the card, you'll see that the girl is actually on both. These things actually matter. It actually matters. These things actually matter. Presentation is everything. These things actually matter. Okay? When you are fulfilling orders, we have some orders that come in because they come in these poly mailers like these, and I'm going to give you guys some quick tips today on where you can get these from. Amazon is one of the best places to get products and shipping from. When I first got started a couple years ago, when I did Uni Gigi, we were using ones from companies like Uline, things like that. And then we got hip to Amazon. And if you have Prime, of course, I have Amazon Prime. It really helps because we're able to get our mailers. If we run out, we can get them in like 2 days. And I forgot how many. It was maybe like, what was it, like 50 or 100 for maybe like $10? I mean, it's real cheap. So this is really great. It has the sticky, right? So you just peel it off right here, right? And then the package goes in here. Of course, you put in the receipt, all that, and then you ship it out, of course. And what we found is that for t-shirts, our shipping is around $3 to $4 for a t-shirt. And then, of course, if it's something that is heavier, we use our priority mail envelopes. This is the 9 by 12.5 by 9.5. And we use these with our priority mail. And because we use Shopify, we get a discount. And we usually comes to like $6 for shipping. And I'm going to share some insight with the product queens on how we, quantify that shipping cost, because you got to be strategic. So when you decide that you want to go into business, there are a lot of things you got to consider. You got to talk about shipping costs. You got to figure out how to make sure that your shipping isn't cutting into your bottom line. You got to make sure that when you ship an item that you have everything that you need. Now you may say, well, Genesis, that's not a lot, right? But you have to think about it. Let's say you get like 30 orders in one day, which I've gotten on a consistent basis. There are a lot of things, you're talking about, you got to make sure you got everything. Okay, you got to kind of really have a process for filling those orders, right? And so you really want to make sure that as you're proceeding and you're making a choice, okay, do I have time to fulfill orders on a daily basis? If not, I probably should consider drop shipping, because with drop shipping, they're going to take care of those fulfillment needs. I won't have to be up in the middle of the night fulfilling orders. But if you're somebody who enjoys that, if I were you, I would consider it. But there are some qualifications for that. The thing about qualifications for drop shipping, Africa, I would refresh the screen. The screen. Okay, so when you're doing the drop shipping thing, you also have to think about margins, because drop shipping, even though you have to think about it. So you're paying them to fulfill the order. That's why it costs more, right? So the reason why, if you go to Printful, or if you go to Printful and the t-shirts, a Bella Canvas 3001 is like $13, right? To drop ship. Well, yes, I could probably get it screen printed or printed locally for cheaper. But remember, they're going to be processing that order for you. So that's one of the benefits of the drop shipping method, right? So if I'm confusing you, be sure to ask questions. I can kind of break it down for you. But that's the benefit. So even though you're paying more, it's really for convenience, right? But you have to realize that because it is for convenience, you can't sell $15 t-shirts, because if the shirt costs $13 to print, okay, you can't sell them for $15. And then people say, oh, well, just, I don't want to charge so high. I don't want to charge so high for that. But see, that's what you have to do. That's what you're going to have to do in order for that business to be successful if you're using a drop shipping method. Most businesses that use drop shipping methods, usually their pricing is higher than the average person. Think about it. If I get a t-shirt screen printed, and I'm getting screen printed at, like, let's say some people get it like between $5 to $10, I can sell them for cheaper, versus me drop shipping. Well, guess what? Those numbers are higher. So that's the thing. If you do drop shipping, know coming into the game that your price points are not going to be as low as everyone else. We're going to touch on that. So questions right now. So on Instagram, Yoshiko says Shopify is better than stamps.com. Actually, so it really all depends. And I could spend a whole day talking about shipping. It depends upon what you're shipping. Remember that when you're doing any product, you have to consider weight as well as size. Okay, so that's the reason why that's why the t-shirt business is so great, because t-shirts are very light. So when you sell t-shirts, they're so light that you'll never really have huge issues with shipping. But then let's say you're shipping mugs. Oh, that's a whole different story. Because think about it, when you're shipping a mug, you have to make sure that it's protected, and those protection layers add on weight to the product when you ship it. So as far as is it better, remember that Shopify uses USPS. They give you discounts on USPS. I'm also thinking about working with Pirate Ship, as well as a couple other platforms I'm looking into. They have quote unquote cheaper shipping fees. There's some ranges. I can but to really answer your question, it all depends. It all depends upon what you're shipping to actually say one is actually cheaper. They technically give you discounts on different things, but again, it all depends upon what you're shipping, where you're shipping it to. Are you using flat rate? There are a lot of things that come into play on if it's actually cheaper. For me personally, I like Shopify versus stamps.com, because Shopify, with my Shopify, everything's linked in with one another, which I really, really like. And that whole I guess you could say streamlining really works for my business. So I have the Shopify app on my phone. So when I go to the post office, or let's say I'm even at home printing out packages, I like it on how I can just click print and then go straight to the post office and have them come pick up the packages. Okay, the other question is, can you do drop shipping through Alpha Broader account? Now, I do not know what that means. I don't know what Alpha Broader is. I don't know everything, but I do not know what Alpha Broader is. So let's keep on going. So the thing about it with the products, that if you are a hands-on person, then I probably would recommend, again, physical inventory, but let's get strategic. I would not suggest that you have 100% inventory. I would not suggest that. One of the things that drop shipping has really changed in the game that I really recommend to people is the fact that it allows you to test product. Also to test the success of your business, right? So drop shipping, because you don't actually have any physical inventory and you're only paying what your customers are bringing in, it eliminates you having inventory that's just sitting. Because let's just say you get a design that you thought was going to be really successful and it tanked. And you thought that, somehow you're going to be so successful. So you went out here and you bought 100 t-shirts. That's where drop shipping has a major, major, major benefit. I'm seeing a lot of like celebrities, Instagram personalities, and different people begin to sell t-shirts, mugs, things that have funny sayings on them or whatever. And one of the benefits of those is that you're able then to test which sayings do well. Right. You're able to test, what customers like and don't like. And instead of you having physical inventory where you would have to get rid of that inventory, it's better for me to then just test the product and say, you know what? This one didn't go well. Let's just snatch it off. And because, again, you have no physical inventory, it won't harm you to snatch those products off the shelves versus you snatching a product off the shelf physically and you have 30 t-shirts or 100 that did not do well and you got to get rid of them. It's very important. It's very, very, very important to really think about, okay, first of all, drop shipping is great. For one, things that I like is that at our store, especially because, you're talking about small business. We're not talking about where you have a whole bunch of capital. It's not like you come in the game with 200 grand and you're about to start a business. We're talking about most people come in the game, maybe you have less than 10 grand to start your business, right? So with that being said, that's the reason why for our company, we're 90% drop shipping and 10% physical inventory. What we do is we buy the t-shirts that do well from drop shipping. So the Grind and Grace and the Enemy one, those are our two best t-shirts. And actually, we're going to be bringing in more inventory and getting rid of these. But those are our best t-shirts. They do extremely well when we do vending. They do extremely well online. So what we did was we went to the printers and said, okay, these are the ones we're going to do. We only did 2. Okay, and that's smart because remember, you're building a business for long-term growth. And it's very important that even in the t-shirt business, even in the mug, whatever product business you're doing, that you are not out here getting 1,000,000 pieces, right? So let's answer some questions. Lori P. Mitchell says, who is the best company for dropshipping Christian jewelry? And now, when you say Christian jewelry, are you mean like bracelets that have like Christian sayings on them or a jewelry business that's owned by Christians? Because there's a difference with that. So there are many dropshipper companies. Like there's companies that connect you to other companies like Uberloo, right? Which is a really successful one that connects businesses to dropshipper companies, right? That you can purchase jewelry from. Remember, you can dropship a lot of things. Remember, it's not just t-shirts and mugs. You could start a jewelry business where the majority of your jewelry is drop shipped. But let's talk about those things. Yeah, bracelets, things like that. Again, I don't have the full list of, because there's so many things you can drop ship. What I would say is research. Research, look at reviews, see other people have bought from them. Remember, with drop shipping, you're not responsible for fulfilling the orders. So you definitely want to see what are the reviews from other people on how they've used them. Are the orders coming fast enough for their customers? What is the quality like? We're going to be talking about quality control because with drop shipping, quality control is one of the things that you really don't really have control over because you're not the one picking the item. You're not the one, looking at the item before it ships. Those are some of the pros and cons to drop shipping versus physical inventory, right? We had a couple issues in drop shipping for our business where t-shirts came that had a hole in the armpit. We had one where the print was faded, and so those things are, there's some pros and cons. So does brand shipping or drop shipping allow you to really brand your product and see? So great. So you guys are really coming into this. Sherry says, is this market saturated? I get this said to me a lot. I'm doing more research to validate now. Okay, great. These are great questions. So let's jump into that because this goes into my notes. Now, with drop shipping versus physical product, we talked about margins, right? Because usually with drop shippers, because they're doing it for you, most times your margins will not be as healthy if you physically had the items themselves. But that you can brand to fit the price point, right? Now let's talk about 4, which is branding. I'm glad that people are asking about this. So these are great topics, so we're going to go into them. When you have physical product, you control the branding of the product being shipped to the customer. Think about it. I can control everything from the way my packaging is to the postcards that get put into there. Now, technically, there are drop shippers ones like Printful, who else does the custom ones? Printful, I know they're really the best ones on that, where they actually allow you to ship them, like your postcards and marketing material. And what they do is they charge you for a holding fee, which basically is almost like rental space for your postcards, your marketing collateral, things like that. They'll charge you for your postcards and stuff, whatever your marketing material, just sit in their warehouse when they fulfill the order. So there are some customizations, like where you basically, again, you can ship the fulfillment company some branding materials to put inside of it, right? But as far as like, you know, what packaging it comes and things like that, there are companies that offer that, but you're talking about, you need to be pushing, I would say, at least like 10 something grand out of your warehouse for you to even to really validate you needing, basically, you sending all these customizations to a fulfillment center. You know, so I talk to people all the time. They're like, oh, just, I wish, I want to have my dropshipper, put them in these bags and put them here, and there. And it's like, okay, you might as well do that yourself, because they're charging you for every little extra branding thing you want to do. They're going to charge you. They're going to charge you. And so for all the things that they're charging, you might as well ship that stuff from your house or from your office or, from your P.O. box and ship it out to your customer. Because remember, that's the benefit of having physical inventory. You can control the branding experience. Again, you could do that from a warehouse, but you would have to pay. You have to pay some pretty pennies for that, right? And so that's one of the things. And it's funny because people say, oh, but I want to just drop shipping, and as great as that is, and I'm hearing you guys, it's business. So if you want a hands-on experience for the customer, you have to be hands-on. There's no way to escape that. So when people say, oh, I just don't. Listen, if you want drop shipping, it comes that way. Now, there are companies that allow you to put, your label on them. They come in pretty packaging. But remember, they're going to be ones really who are going to control how much customization that really is. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys? So, don't go out here with 20, desires. And it's like, okay, but you're not paying for that. You're not paying for that. So one of my t-shirts from Alpha Broder Vendor Online, but my printer is here in Atlanta. The print is a foil print on the tee. How would drop shipping work for these circumstances? So the thing about drop shipping as well is you have drop shipping / fulfillment companies. So drop shipping companies are usually companies where they either print or they have the product and then they ship it on behalf of the customer. But then fulfillment is another game. I've actually worked with some customers for fulfillment strategies. Fulfillment strategies for fulfillment centers are places where they may not necessarily print, but they will ship for you. So in other words, you could bring them 100 t-shirts and say, hey, I don't want to ship these, but I want to pay you guys to fulfill orders as they come in. So they're not a drop shipper. They are a fulfillment center. Okay, so this is the strategy that I've actually recommended for a few people who had the capital. You gotta have some money though for this, because basically what you're doing is you're paying somebody to basically ship your stuff out. They're not printing it, but basically what you're doing is you're bringing them product for them then to handle all the orders. Think of it like that. So to answer your question, you could go to Atlanta. In Atlanta, you get your Atlanta printer to print out all your foil t-shirts, and then you can find a fulfillment company where you basically bring them all of your t-shirts and say, hey, you're going to be our fulfillment company. Does that make sense? So fulfillment company is basically like, okay, I'm going to bring all my t-shirts, and then when our orders come into our store, you will receive all the orders and ship them on our behalf. Right now, again, you would need to research. It's very important that when you pick a fulfillment center, wherever you live, they should be, I would say, no more than a 2-hour radius, because I have worked with some fulfillment centers in different states with my different clients, and you really want to be hands-on with that fulfillment center, because you want to be able to walk in, make sure everything's going as planned. Everything it's almost like you owning a warehouse, but you don't have a warehouse. You're just paying for somebody to basically be your warehouse, right? But there are companies that do that. So that is another way of getting it done. But you need to research fulfillment centers in your area. You need to call them up, and I'm telling you, don't be scared. Call them up, ask them, okay, how much is this going to cost? What are your holding fees, stock, all that. So you got to ask them everything. So, and be straightforward. So say, hey, I would love for you to fulfill our orders, but remember, you need to be able to justify any costs being spent. Because if the cost is too high and it's hurting your business, you may need to ship out your orders yourself. This thing about, again, when you start talking about some technicalities in business, especially when it comes to shipping and things like that, when you're hiring a business to ship for you, like a fulfillment center, you better be pushing some things out. I mean, to even validate that being an option. Does that make sense? Because if you can't validate that cost, you need to ship from your house or from your office or from whatever, okay? So let's talk about brand. We talked about branding. Let's keep on going. Let's talk about quality control. Quality control is big. When you do drop shipping, you really are not in charge of quality control. Point blank. Why? Because think about it. You don't have the product. So if anything's messed up with the product, you don't really know until the customer gets it. That is one of the major trust factors of trusting and really going into a drop shipping type of business. I'm going to answer, someone had a question. I'm going to get to you, Sherry Jones. I got your question. I'm going to answer it. That is, again, one of the things when it comes to this type of business is the trust factor. You want to make sure that these companies that you work with are good. That's why samples are required. That's why that's why you don't rush into business. That's why you don't rush into launch anything. You have to take time to make sure, especially if you're doing drop shipping, can these companies be trusted? What is the quality like of the product? Does it fall apart when you get it? I mean, and this is the reason why when I talk about, that's when people ask me, which one's cheaper, drop shipping or, having inventory? I mean, think about it. You may not have access to all, let's say you're doing jewelry, you may not have access to any jewelry, companies. So what you do is you drop ship through a jewelry company and you have them ship out their jewelry to your customers, right? But because you don't actually have your hands on the jewelry, you need to make sure, again, is this jewelry going to last? Is it going to fall apart? All those types of things. These are real questions. And, that's the funny thing about, we had a message order recently, maybe about 2 weeks ago. And the customer got the t-shirt, and the t-shirt had a hole in it, and it was dirty on one side. And I'm thinking, what? I mean, this is a company that has not done this wrong for all these orders. What's happening now? So the great thing about it is you want to make sure that whatever dropshipping company you go with has great customer service. Because those customers, I know for ours, they love our t-shirts. They want to wear them. And so they get a little agitated when the product comes and it's messed up and they can't rock it. They're trying to rock that t-shirt today, right? So that's one of the issues. So, we contacted, this through Printify. We contacted Printify. We said, look, there's an issue with this t-shirt. We need to make sure this is rectified. And, they were able to get it rectified. And then the new t-shirt was shipped out immediately. But you need to make sure that, whatever companies you're working with, they're not having you, on the line for 20 hours and you never hear back from them. You need to really check reviews with these companies before you're doing these drop shipping, okay? So quality control, I mean, hey, when I ship a t-shirt from here, I can look at it and I can tell you, if it has a hole in it, if it's messed up, that's different. But when you're doing, again, these other types of businesses, quality control, make sure you know the companies you're working with. Okay, lastly, we're going to talk about strategy for business, the future. Because when you're doing drop shipping versus having physical inventory, whether it's t-shirts, jewelry, mugs, whatever it is, we got to talk about what's the goal. Where are we going with this business? Because the survival of your business is based upon what's the goal for the future. So let me answer some questions real quick. So let me first answer Sherry Jones. Sherry Jones says, is this market saturated? I get this said to me a lot. I'm doing more research to validate it now. So drop shipping is not really a market per se. Remember that drop shipping is the way the product is given to the customer. It's not actually a type of business. So when I say like I have a drop shipping business, it's actually not a type of, I guess unless my business is helping people drop ship. But remember that a drop shipping business is really defining how the customer gets the product. So you can drop ship a million. I could drop ship cookies. I could drop ship, teddy bears. I can drop ship BB guns. I could drop ship t-shirts. So, there's many markets you can go into. So is it saturated? No, because it's not a market. It's only the way that the customer gets the product. Okay, but remember, when we're talking about business, especially when it comes to product development, product fulfillment, drop shipping, t-shirts, mugs, this is the last portion we're going to talk about where it comes to strategy for business, especially when it comes to products. Most people, they have product, but they're not selling it. And if they sell, it's like a little bit here and there. right? Because again, most people, when they come in these kinds of, especially with product, they're thinking about it all wrong. Because you came in thinking that like, oh, we got some t-shirts, oh, we got some hoodies or whatever, you know, it's cute. Yeah, that's right, it's cute, but is it selling? You know, and these are the issues, because just because you have product does not mean your business. It just means you got product. So many people having to liquidate their inventory because they're not selling any of it. And that's what my goal is, to make sure you guys are selling this stuff. So let's keep on all these questions. Okay, so Style by Terrence has a question. Company you're using to dropship closes, then what? It closes. When you're, think about it, and this is very, 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 very important. Most businesses are dependent upon other businesses to survive. It's business. If they close, that's business. Think about it. Even if I'm selling physical t-shirts, if the screen printer I use closes down, what happens to my business? I gotta find another one. It's business. That's just, you know, you gotta just keep on going. Okay, so you said so the question is, does she think that the t-shirt business is saturated? No, I don't. And people will say, well, just everyone's t-shirt business. Yeah, but most of these people ain't gonna survive. It's not saturated. I don't think it's saturated. I mean, if we talk about saturation, no, we would first have to define what is saturation. Saturation to me is really when the market is really cloaked and covered and drenched with businesses. Most of these businesses that are t-shirt businesses aren't even in the soaking process. They just kind of stay on the surface. They're not going to survive. Most of them are not going to survive in a year. That's why for me, I don't like pay attention to that kind of stuff. You know, you have to understand that when you, I use this from a God sense. If God gave you the idea, don't think about saturation. Think about domination. That's what I always think about. I never think about, you know, how many people are in that marketplace. I got to focus on who am I meant for, and let me figure out how I'm going to get them, right? So, you know, one of those things, a lot of people think, oh, no, it's saturated, it's too much, I always say pray. Because if God confirms it, I don't really care what it looks like. But again, most of these people are not serious. I look at them all the time. They're not serious. They're not serious about their business. They're not going to last. So I'm rarely concerned. I'm rarely, if I'm ever concerned, it's because it's usually about something that's going on in my business. But I'm rarely concerned about other people's business because most of them are not going to survive, point blank. Now, I don't say that for it to be a, you know, gloomy thing, but it's just a fact that most people don't even make it past the 3-year mark. Why? Because most people come in this business are not thinking about business, thinking about, oh, let me just make some quick coins. No, this is why number 6, we're going to talk about lastly, is the fact that you got to have strategy for the long run. Okay, you got to have strategy for the long run. Okay, let's look at this. Question, which I think my Mind Over Matter answered. And also Tanessa Monique answered. So the question was, in your opinion, it takes $10 to print each shirt, $4 for men's tees, and $7 for women's tees. What's a good price point for t-shirts to maximize capital? Total is $14 for creating. What should I price my product? What should I price point my product at? So the consensus, some people answered, they said no less than $25. So here's the rule. Here's the rule. You got to at least double it to cover how much it takes to produce it. This is guys, it's like business 101. Okay, it's like business 101. Like business wise, for some of you, you're not making any money because you're not doing your numbers right now. I'm not saying that this is in regards to Style by Terrence. I'm just talking about people in general. So so the product takes me, let's use the $10 mark. If it takes me $10 to make it, I got the base cost, the base price for me to sell it is at least $20. But I cannot sell it for $20. Very important. Why? Because that will be the price point to just make it again. Okay, this is very important. So when we look at, you know, whether it's me, myself, or I'm working with people, you know, and they're pricing their products, I always tell them, you know, is it at least double? You know, so if it takes me 7, that means I got at least the starting point is 14. But if I sell it for 14, I really haven't made any profit. It's just point blank. That's why most people are not making any money in their business. You have no money to invest in your business because it's not enough. So it's at least double, and then from there I build out my profit. If I don't have enough money to make it again, I mean, you're really making any money. Okay, so that's why I say, you know, if it costs you $14 to make, at least it needs to be 28, and that's just starting out. To be honest, those numbers are way too high. You gotta get the numbers down. Gotta get the numbers down. So if it's costing you $14 to make one shirt, it's too high. $14, you might as well drop ship. That's the way. Now I understand because it's foil. I understand that. But you definitely need to see how can you get the t-shirt, whatever you're paying for the t-shirts. Let's see if you can get that number down. And then for the foil, you may need to see if you can get a screen printer to get you even lower. If not, then you need to make sure that your company is branded to where those prices fit your audience. One of the issues too that t-shirt companies have is that your branding stinks and so your customers stink. In other words, you're dealing with people who cannot afford what you're selling. So then they complain about the prices in which you charge. Make sure, this is why you take time to build business. I would rather, this is for some of you guys will not take this challenge, but I would rather spend a year building up my clientele before I even sell one thing. Before rushing out here with product, talking about, you know, who wants to buy my t-shirt? Who wants to buy my t-shirt? This is how so many people, this is why they don't make it in business. You know, like this. I got a t-shirt, t-shirts, who wants to buy it? I got a t-shirt, who wants to buy it? And they're like, first of all, I don't even know, this is how people come. First of all, where did this business come from? Because I didn't, you just pop up today? Okay. So you didn't even give me time to save my coins or any coins. And you know, it's cute because when you first get started, everybody supports you, right? Because you know, you just got started. It's real hype. You know, everyone's commenting, everyone loves it. Okay, give that about 3-4 months. Okay, at that 3-4 month mark, that's when people, they kind of start settling, you know, and now you need customers that are not your friends, not your cousins, not your college mates. You need strangers. Okay, so now we're going to end this talk by talking about how do I actually build a profitable product-based business. We're going to spend the last few moments talking about this because remember, anybody can make a product. Not everybody can sell the product, right? Anybody. I can print a t-shirt tomorrow. I can make a mug tomorrow. I can go buy 20 mugs tomorrow. It does not, the genius is not so much in the creation of the product, unless the product is, this is important, unless the product, again, is something that is, you know, a proprietary. That's different. Talking about, you know, if you're inventing a product or you're creating a product that's unlike, that's a little bit different. But, you know, most things, and this is very important, most things that people create are not proprietary. So stop being so like, oh, someone stole my t-shirt design. You know, there's some things, man, I wish I could go ham on and just talk to y'all about. Because some things that you guys say is just so sensitive. Like some of y'all so sensitive business, you're not going to make it. I'm telling you, you're not going to make it. I'm praying that you do. Praying that your faith fail not. People say stuff, oh, man, they stole. Well, I mean, technically, your t-shirt design is not proprietary. That saying is on like 20 million t-shirts, you know. So most people are coming into the product development game, that your ideas are not proprietary. Right? So like there's a mug over here that says, good morning, gorgeous, right? I mean, that's not proprietary. It's gold foil on a porcelain mug. It's not proprietary, right? So am I focusing on selling special products or am I focusing on selling products in general, right? So coming into this, again, anyone can have products. Anybody can write a book. I'm not saying that's true because I do believe it takes time to write a book. I'm just saying the point is, stop getting so wrapped up on what it takes to make it. Because if you're not selling it, it doesn't really matter how much it costs you to make it. If you're not selling it, it doesn't really matter. Okay. So let's talk about selling it. Movement sell products. That's the #1 no for that. Movements are going to sell your products. Instead of you trying to be so focused on creating a product, even though the product doesn't need to be quality, once you get done focusing on the quality of your product, you now need to focus on the movement behind the product, okay? Great businesses, especially product-based, sell because of movements. There's some kind of a cross they've decided to bear, and you may not think it's a cross, but you got to think about it. Let's talk about things like Riri with Fenty Beauty, right? So Rihanna, you may say, oh, she did not create a movement. That girl sure did. Kim Kardashian, she sure did create a movement. These are movements, right? So the problem that I'm really on a destined journey to solve is that I want you guys to stop making products. Start creating movement. It takes more time to create a movement. That's why people quit in business and burn out, because they were trying to push products. And it takes so much work to try to just sell a product because the product itself is not enough. It's different if, like, you were selling OxyClean, when you sell OxyClean, but even if you sell OxyClean, you would have to explain the product, correct? I mean, the reason why OxyClean sold so much was because of that guy with that beard who was on that table on that kitchen sink counter, whatever, using OxyClean and cleaning out the stuff in the laundry room, right? He was showing you the product. So the product itself does not sell itself. This is the reason why I say all the time, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, oh, I want bleach. Right? No one's like, oh my gosh, I want bleach. Unless they're like crazy or something. There's some crazy people. What do people wake up saying? I need to clean my clothes. My clothes are dirty. I need to clean my clothes, right? So what do? They then go to the supermarket, or they go to, the whatever department, whatever they, to Walmart, Target, wherever they go. And they go into the aisle, and they will pick out some type of bleach that they have identified themselves with. Now, there are some shoppers who say, man, I'm just going to grab whatever's on the shelf. Whatever I see, I'm just going to grab the bleach. But most people have developed a relationship with the type of bleach they use. So whether it's Tide, whether it's, not Tide, Tide's detergent, whether it's like Clorox. I mean, that's bleach. I mean, that's the only brand that I immediately think about when I think bleach. I'm thinking Clorox. That's something Clorox. It's bleach. About, right? When you think of like, sanitation or like, wipes, I'm thinking Lysol, right? That's what I'm thinking about. Why? Because they've attached themselves to a movement of clean in different ways, right? But what I'm saying is that nobody like wakes up and says bleach. People wake up and say Tide. They wake up and say Gain. They wake up and say Clorox, right? Why? It's a movement, and you may not think that it's a movement, but it is a movement. It is a movement. Rihanna created a movement with her makeup by making sure that it was a movement of celebrating all shades. And because of the type of style and woman she is, she created a movement behind herself, which also extended to a brand, a makeup brand that has been extremely successful. Kim Kardashian has done the same. She created a movement that was really more of a personal brand that then extended into a makeup products with, KWW that has now stretched out into what? A movement. It is a movement, whether you want to say it or not, whether you like the woman or not, it is a movement. Cardi B. Okay, you guys know Cardi B, she's not my Jesus, she's not my Jesus, okay? But Cardi B developed a brand. Personal brand, transferred into music. People fell in love with who she was. That was a movement. So then that helps her do what? Sell product. I'm going to say the only reason why, but the main reason why these people are doing extremely well with selling product is that they built the movement first. You can't have, this is the one thing about, we got to make sure we're not getting deceived about, the facts, right? So one of the reasons why people get deceived by the facts is, for instance, I'm all for Fenty Beauty. But people, there's a meme that has went around by, how much money she raked in. And see, that was her. But the reason why she raked in that amount of money was because she spent years. I mean, it's like these things don't happen overnight. Like when Kim Kardashian sold out in like 14 minutes or whatever, we're like, oh my God, like that's going to be me one day. Da, da, da. It's not going to be you if you don't start the movement now. Okay, I'll never forget when Rihanna first came into America with "Come, Mr. DJ, the replay." I was like, "What's that DJ?" Okay. Anyway, I was a big Rihanna fan. Rihanna was like, what, a teenager at that time, right? Okay. Did she launch a makeup company then? Now, she had things where she did collaborations with like, was it fragrances, right? But did she, this is very important, did she say, oh, I'm going to drop Fenty Beauty at 15 years old? It would have been a dumb move. Why? Because it takes time to build up awareness in your business, especially with product development, especially with products, because products are not like, it's not like, now some of you may be selling these, but it's not like you're selling a $1,500 t-shirt, right? You're selling maybe a $20 or $30 or $50, whatever, right? So you have to do more sales to hit certain marks, right? So it's different if I'm like a web designer and I need to make 10 grand. Well, I'm going to do 10 sites for $1,000, right? But you're talking about 10 grand in t-shirts. Okay, let's just run it real quick. I would need to sell, okay, if let's say t-shirts were $10, I would need to sell 500 of those bad boys in 1 month to make 10 grand. Okay? So it's one of those things where, let me just do this. Well, actually 500 times 10 is 5,000, but still. So the point is that if I'm going to do Let's just do this real quick so that you guys can really understand this. Like, this is why you got to make sure, like, come in this game. So, of course, if I'm trying to sell, let's say I'm trying to do 10,000, I would need to sell 1,000 t-shirts at $10 to make $10,000. Okay. So it's one of those things where, because your price point that you're coming in is completely different, it's a whole different game. Like, you got to come into this a whole different way. Okay. A whole different way. So you have to really build up a movement. So when you're doing t-shirts, mugs, whatever this be, instead of you coming out of the gate thinking, okay, well, we have products. No. What's the movement? What's the movement? The movement is more important than the product, because you can make any type of product. What's more important is the movement. What are you creating behind? Now, it doesn't have to be some huge civil rights. I'm not talking about, some huge, we want to change the world type thing, but it is about what do your products do? You may think, okay, well, I mean, I sell t-shirts. Okay, well, what's the feeling behind the t-shirts? Are you here to make people laugh? Maybe you have comedy-based t-shirts. So your whole movement is about laughter and fun and enjoyment. If you're here to sell, at Gigi Taught Me, we sell faith-based tees for boss women, for basically faith-based tees for Christian boss women who are, leaders, and they're impacting the world. So we have the same grind and grace, because we, think about the women that we are all about is we're about women who are working hard, hustling, working to build their dreams. So we have grind and grace, right? So even when we think about our sayings, most of our sayings are based upon something faith-based, but it has a girly touch, right? Or it's something that's based upon working hard, right? So a lot of times we have things like, we have our CEO t-shirt, our CEO t-shirt and CEO crew neck that's been so popular with so many people. Why? Because it basically connects to what we're all about. And that also helps us to build relevant content and connect our product past a product, but more about what are the types of people that we are for. That helps push products. So when you only have product and no movement, it's a lot of work. Why? Because you can only rely upon the product. And the product is only a product. The product is, for instance, this is only a t-shirt. It's only a t-shirt. That's the realistic part of this. It's only a t-shirt. But when I put a movement behind this, it's more than a t-shirt. It's a part of a movement, right? So every single t-shirt that we have here in stock, it's more than the t-shirt. It's about the movement. So this goes into like the weekly emails we do of encouragement that actually start back up in a week. And we send out, Gigi Taught Me sends out a weekly email of encouragement to our email subscribers, right? Bringing them into what? The movement, right? It helps us to create relevant social media content, to do what? Bring them into the what? Movement. Right? When we do our branding materials, right, that talk about, how this is for, boss women, what does it do? It brings them into what? The movement. So I want you, if you are working on a business, you are working on whether it's a t-shirt, a mug, whatever it may be, instead of you trying to get so wrapped up on the products, I want you to first think about two things. What type of business will this be? Drop shipping, physical fulfillment, both. And then what's the movement? Make sure that your products come out of the movement. Make sure that your content and your storytelling to social media, to the different channels. Some things I didn't even touch on yet, but I'll touch on another video. Things such as, and I have here in my notes, the different channels that you sell by, whether it's social media, in person with vending and exhibiting, whether it's through your online store or Facebook or social media ads or Google ads. Make sure things pull back into the what? Feeling, the vibe. All these things are so important when it comes to selling. Why? Because people are not buying just a t-shirt because they have the option to buy it somewhere else. It's just a t-shirt. But when I create a world for them where they feel as if when they buy a t-shirt from this particular company, I'm supporting this type of vibe, this type of movement, this type of feeling. I identify with that particular business because there's something that I can relate to, right? So I work with a client who is really big into Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency. So he created a business, an online dropshipping t-shirt business and mug business that was basically celebrating people who love Bitcoin. And, that was the audience and what she he created that movement. That was a movement of celebrating people who love Bitcoin, right? And so it doesn't have to be, you know, a full in-depth movement, you know, that has like 13 layers of understanding, but it is about figuring out who are you for. It is about you understanding, okay, who are we targeting? It is understanding what do they like and what's the vibe. You know, people can go to Forever 21 and H&M and buy a t-shirt. I mean, I'm not sure about H&M right now. Sure anyone's buying t-shirts from them, but the point remains is that, you know, people can go to Walmart, can go to Forever 21, can go to Kohl's, can go anywhere and buy a t-shirt. That option. Create the solution. Create something that people actually enjoy, right? So when people come to Gigi Taught Me, whether they're meeting me face to face and I'm vending and I'm talking to them, or they're coming to our website and getting that, you know, weekly inspiration, they're experiencing something more than just a t-shirt. It's about a movement, okay? That should be felt in your social media. So don't just use your social media as a bulletin board. Use it as a movement. Okay, what you're about, who you're for, what you love, what your customers love, what they enjoy. This is a world. Remember, business is about creating worlds that can also convert into profit, right? That's what I teach all the time, about creating community. Creating community. Community is everything. And so I would really urge many of you that are so eager to start a business, take your daggone time. Do not rush. I didn't say pause, slow down, and say, you know, go like really, really slow. What I am saying is take your time. You're in this for the long run. And the reason why so many businesses do not make it is because they start out going really fast and they do not even know how they're going to go for the next 4 or 5 months. So if I don't have a plan for the next 4 or 5 months, I sure do not need to be going 100 miles per hour in my business. It also has build movement. Have build moments. Build moments in a business are basically where, you know, these are instrumental points in our business where we're going to scale and we're going to offer new collections or offer new products. You know, you got to really take out time to think about this stuff. I mean, I don't want you guys getting into business and then thinking that, you know, you're not made to be an entrepreneur because honestly, you didn't have a plan and you didn't, you know, understand what you're doing. You know, Gigi taught me, I go back to this all the time, but we're in here. Gigi taught me, I thought of it and began to conceiving it in the end of 2016, going into 2017. Okay. And we opened in November of 2017. We've only been in business for this particular e-commerce for only a few months. But our success for making thousands per month has been because we did not rush. I took my daggone time. I did not rush. I have launched several e-commerce businesses before, and I use them as test models. So some of you guys remember when I did Save Savage for like a month? I was using that as a test model. It was not meant to be forever. I did that as a test model to figure out just, you know, on how I wanted my dropshipping to work, how to make it more effective. So what was I doing? I was taking time. When you go into your business, you need to know your numbers. Don't rush. Don't rush. It's not good to jump into business first and not know your numbers. Now, someone will say, well, Genesis, you know, what if I didn't know? Well, because of giving you the information now, you have no excuse. You know, and that's the thing about it. We want to use some things as scapegoats, but if I give you the information, you have or really no way to say you did not know. Okay, so when you're given knowledge, you do know now, and you need to make sure that you're making the correct decisions so that when you're building this effective business, you're building it so that you could give this to somebody, that you can pass it down, so that you could sell, right? But in order to sell a company, you got to make sure that it's profitable. You got to make sure that it's built to a certain level to where it's actually worth selling. Most businesses are not even worth selling. They're only worth, you know, you really have no assets. There's really nothing worth proprietary about your business. Nothing really that, you know, you could say is a successful proven model yet. You got to build it up. It takes years. Some of you are coming into business thinking it's going to take you a couple months. It's going to take years. Embrace that. You're not ready. I'm saying that, I'm not saying that you're not enough. I'm not saying that you're not a good person. I'm just saying that when you're in business, you're not come into it thinking that somehow it's going to be a walk in the park. Walk in the park, it's business. It's supposed to take a couple years. Why? Because it takes a couple years for people to even know. You don't even to become aware about you. Okay? So don't rush. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. I got things I have to do. I have been spending time away from social media on purpose, finishing up some things. But if you've enjoyed this, I really think you guys should join my 4-week workshop. It starts in February. It's for 4 weeks. I'll be spending every Monday with you in February in the evening time. And again, I'm so excited. 50% filled. That's amazing. And we're not even toward the end of the closing. So we start February the 5th. And basically, I'm going to be teaching 30 women on how to have an effective t-shirt and mug business. We're going to do everything. I'm going to basically teach you about what I teach my clients, my customers, not because my clients, my people who I've taught, and then also what I've learned personally in building this. And so one of the things I've learned we're going to talk about is, for instance, and for a successful t-shirt business. So that's really important. So understanding, okay, when I'm coming to this t-shirt business, how we're going to actually brand this thing, how do we build up awareness? Again, it took me a couple months to build up awareness, but we have really healthy numbers. And that came because we didn't come out here just popping in the sky. We took our time. I'm also going to cover how to build your site through Shopify on the components that you'll need on the front end as well as the back end to make sure they're successful. I'm going to be also going over the drop shipping companies for t-shirts and mugs. This class is really for those of you who want to do t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, leggings, even the backpacks, totes, all those kind of things, tumblers, water bottles. I'm going to be teaching you guys on the platforms that I recommend on how to, what to price your products at, how to brand yourself so that those products will sell, because that's really big. I'm also going to talk to you about the patience factor, because that patience factor is huge. Got to have patience in this game. I'm going to teach you on how to have patience. I'm going to teach you on the things that you'll need, checklists for vending tables, checklists for, your online store, checklists for even the back end operations of your store. And so that you're going to have a business that lasts. Okay. So guys, again, you can check it out by going to genesisdorsey.com/product queen. The link is with this video. A link, if you're on YouTube, is in the description box. And if you're on Instagram, link is in my bio, it's in my link tree. And if you have any questions, just be sure to let me know. You can inbox me. My team will get back to you. I will not get back to you. My team will. I appreciate my team for really making sure that I was giving some peace while I am still, taking kind of a major step away from social media. But I'm still bringing you guys these videos. So, guys, have a great rest of your day. I'm going to end it here on, okay. And then I'm going to end it here on, let's see. Oh, YouTube, I'm so sorry. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions. I may have, because I never look at the chat box. Oh, Afro-Himinim Tarot, thank you for sharing this wisdom. I'm new, taking all this in. Okay, great. Okay, as long as you guys are enjoying it. Okay, cool. So I'm going to end it on